Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Harpreet Singh from Hansraj Mehla Mahavidyalaya Jalandhar, a leading women college in Punjab, in India. I'm also the vice president of Asia Pacific Bioinformatics Network, and we are working together for the upliftment of bioinformatics in the entire Asia Pacific region. I have also been associated with Bioclues as a finance secretary, and I think the contribution of Bioclues is and such societies is much more in bearing the torch of bioinformatics in all the countries and especially in the Asia Pacific region.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Jaraman, sir. Sir, your voice is not audible.
I am Jayaraman Waladi. I work at Flame University as a distinguished professor of computing and data sciences. I specialize working on applications of bio and chemoinformatics in machine learning and deep learning problems. I will be very happy to collaborate with everybody who wants to collaborate. If anybody has got some data to analyze and then produce some machine learning solutions, please contact me. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I request Kiran, sir. Please switch on your camera and give small introduction.
Hello, good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Kiran Kumar Telukunta. I'm right now in Europe. I'm mostly into the bioinformatic infrastructure. I'm also entrepreneurial chair in Bioclues and from the TMS Foundation, trying to encourage and spread the Galaxy project in Asia and in India. I'll tell more in my next let's say my talk or in the later stage about these things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Further, I request Mr. Naveen Kumar. Ms. Poonam Deshpande.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Poonam Deshpande. I am working with DES Pune University, Pune. Here we have started MSc Bioinformatics curriculum for the first time. Being from a biochemistry background, I have never got so much exposure which I am getting from Bioclues. So I consider Dr. Prashant, Dr. Valadi, Jairam sir and all others as a mentor, and especially Bioclues. Thank you for giving this platform so that people like me, who though we are called as faculty, I myself is learning a lot from this platform and trying to give my students the same knowledge which I'm getting. So thank you all of you for all the support.
Thank you so much. Next, Pradeep Iranti.
Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon. My name is Pradeep Iranti. I'm a final year PhD student at University of Paris, and my focus of research currently is multi-omics integration based on network analysis with special focus on allergic diseases. Thank you very much.
Now I request Pragati Gupta.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Pragati Gupta, and currently I'm pursuing PhD in biotechnology. So right now I'm working on cellular senescence and combining in silico or like dry lab things. So I'm just pursuing my PhD right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I request Prajwal Singh.
Hello, very good morning to all of you. I'm Prajwal Pratap Singh. I am postdoc fellow at Tel Aviv University, Israel, and I'm working on population genetics for my postdoc work. I'm working on ancient DNA stuffs. Thank you.
Now I request Pushpender Singh.
Namaskar. My name is Pushpender Singh, and I'm working as a scientist at ICMR NET, Institute of Research in Tribal Health at Jabalpur, which is very close to the heart of India geographically speaking at least. And I'm mainly working on mycobacterial diseases and currently also in charge of the virology laboratory where we work on diagnosis and molecular genotyping of more than 25 different viruses. And I'm also in charge of the central instrumentation facility at our institute. So you are welcome to have any collaborative ideas or discussions or projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Santosh Kumar.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. I'm Santosh Kumar. Yeah. I'm Santosh Kumar. I'm associate professor in Department of Biotechnology, Pompe University, Karnataka. So my field of interest is purely the big data analysis, including transcriptomics and systems biology.
Thank you so much. Now I request Shashidhara Ken. Now I request Shriji Jayakopal.
Uh, good, uh, Good morning, everyone. I am Srijit. I'm doing my third year from School of Biotechnology, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham in microbiology.
Thank you. Now I request Sri Manjari.
Hi, good
Ma'am.
morning all. Yeah, I'm Dr. Manjari, working as geneticist in Gene Power X and also secretary Bioclues. And as a geneticist, I look into your genes and tailor make personalized medicine reports, which is a unique brand for your unique brand of year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Sudeshna Nag.
Very good morning, delegates and everyone over here. I'm Sudeshna Nag, a student of BSc Biotechnology Honors. I'm pursuing my degree from ITM University, Gwalior, and I'm in my final year. And I'm very happy to say that as I got associated with Bioclues, and with every seminar, the hunger for bioinformatics is increasing day by day. Thank you, Bioclues, for giving me such a big opportunity.
Thank you. Now I request Tirthraj Singh. Thank you all for the wonderful small brief introduction. And now over to you, Harpreet sir.
Yeah, Harpreet, thank you so much, and thank you so much, Himani. Harpreet, would you mind introducing Asif? No person would be better introducing Asif Khan, for our, plenary talk of his. Yeah, please.
Definitely. I hope Asif is there.
Hi,
Yes,
hi,
sir.
Alfred. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome, Asif.
Yes,
And
yes.
Maybe
yeah,
before that, can we
good morning,
check?
everyone. I think it's what a wonderful day it was to come across the idea of sandbags. We enjoyed a lot. I was not aware that so much effort is being going on, and thanks to Prash and all team members. And it's my honor to introduce Asif. Asif has been the president of Asia Pacific Bioinformatics Network, and he's doing a wonderful job for bioinformatics, for spreading awareness about bioinformatics, for doing something very very innovative in the field of bioinformatics for the entire Asia Pacific region, and obviously for the entire world, because recently he has been appointed as a president of the GOBLET, which is Global Community for Spreading Education and Awareness. And I think I have been working with Asif for the last 4 years as an EXCO member, and I was aware about his activities earlier also. But the way he is steering Asia Pacific Network is really, really wonderful. He has been, many brainchild ideas, like, for example, International Research Consortium, Education Summit, and many, we are working on the grand challenges in education. I think they are the brainchild of Asif. They are excellent, excellent, innovative idea. And I think you all must be benefited by his talk. And apart from Asia Pacific Bioinformatics President and Executive Director, College in Jalandhar, America.
I think
Next to that, you have a share screen option. You can,
yeah,
you're asked to, yeah.
I found it, but it's just saying there's some setting issues to update some and then refresh the page. Hang on.
I don't know. The host controls have already given us. If I don't know why others could do that. Would you mind maybe refreshing your screen again and rejoining? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I think it must be working now. Yeah. Ashutosh initially posed that particular problem, so but he's now back. I think Ashutosh. Can you please? Asif, you're muted. You're muted, Asif. We cannot hear you. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Asif. Yeah, Asif. Asif, you're muted, please. Can you please unmute your microphone? We cannot hear you. Asif, please unmute your microphone. Yeah. You have sent me the presentation. Unfortunately, I become very lazy these days, during weekends, and I'm using my mobile phone, sitting at my home. Asif, please unmute your microphone. We cannot hear you. Yeah. Let me just. Is anyone using a laptop? Himani, are you using
Yes,
the
sir.
laptop, please?
Yes, sir.
Can you? Yes, sir. I'm just sharing one presentation to you. Can you please share that? Share that screen? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just sent you in WhatsApp, please. Yeah, please share the screen for Asif. Thank you. Asif, I think you are muted, please. I don't know why you're. I gave you permissions for unmuting. Can you please unmute your microphone while Hemani shares the screen for you?
Prash, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Asif. Yeah. So Asif, we also welcome Gyaneshwar Chobe, who is a president who has joined. He was supposed to introduce you, but he was very busy. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, but Harpreet has made a wonderful introduction. Yeah. So thank you so much, and Hemani will share the screen for you, and you can prompt her, for the next slide. Yeah. Hemani, are you sharing the screen, please? Yeah.
Sir, already shared.
Sir, already shared. Oh, is it? Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm not able to change slide.
Okay. Can I begin? Is everything okay now? Prash,
Can I go ahead? Yes, 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 please. Yeah.
all right. Can you put it to full screen presentation mode? Okay, never mind. All right. So thank you again.
It's not working.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yes, sir, it's not working in full screen mode.
Okay, never mind. That's okay. That's okay. Okay, this is fine. I usually, whenever I come for a talk with Prash, I will have some problem with Teams. The last time he invited me, we had a similar situation. We ended up wasting like 20 minutes. So I don't want to waste much more of your precious time. I want to just get started. Once again, thank you, Prash. And thank you, Harpreet, for that kind introduction. Thank you, Bioclues, for inviting me and considering me for this wonderful talk opportunity.
Welcome, Asif.
Thank you. All right, so my talk is going to be about the Goblet journey and where we are heading. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of Goblet. So I'm just going to introduce you. By the way, I'm in the middle of travel, so I had to I checked out from my room, so I don't have a place. So I used one of the common rooms here in the hotel to do this. So if you hear a bit of a noise, my apologies. Okay, next slide. All right, so I also actually want to extend a warm welcome from our side, from Goblet, to Sandvix 2024. I understand that this is kind of a new initiative. This is a transformation of Landvix previously, and this is an effort by Bioclues. So congratulations to Bioclues for this kind of offshoot activity that they have transformed and are aiming for a much higher outreach. And I really like this tagline that you have, bridging the gap in bioinformatics South. And this is where I feel Goblet is hoping to make some difference and contribute to that bridging the gap. So actually, I recently became the chair of Goblet, and Prash also joined me in being part of Goblet. I have been with Goblet since 2017, but just actually the announcement for the chair just went out a few days ago. So I'm happy to take this role and share with you what Goblet is all about. And with me, these are the other board members that have joined my team. And together we hope to take Goblet forward and further. All right, next slide. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. So the outline of my talk, I'm going to introduce briefly about goblets, and I'm going to talk about some of the goblet activities, and very briefly towards the end, touch upon the journey that it had and where we are heading. Next slide, please. All right, so goblet, I mean, it's a mouthful if you think of the name. So it stands for Global Organization for Bioinformatics Learning, Education, and Training. All right, thank you. Sorry, I was in a common room. So. Okay, so you might have forgotten what I said. So Global Organization for Bioinformatics Learning, Education, and Training. So LET is very key here. That's the kind of the key, that's what Goblet lives and breathes. Learning, education, and training. So think of Goblet as a community for trainers. There are a lot of students who want to learn, and there are a lot of teachers who teach these students. But there must be some sort of organization that takes care of these teachers, these trainers, so that they give you the best training possible, so that they can have their concerns heard by somebody, and their concerns, be rectified. Something be done about that, especially the gaps that are there in terms of delivering the best training possible for the trainees. So Goblet is basically that entity that tries to do what it can for the trainer community. It was founded in 2012, and the members encompass quite a diverse, the diverse groups of entities. For example, you have people from bioinformatics, biocomputing, biocuration, computational biology. So a lot of these, entities have come together basically to represent Goblet, and with the common goal of addressing the concerns of the trainers. Next slide, please. All right, so the mission is ultimately to build a global bioinformatics trainers community, and part of that involves setting standards, providing high quality resources to support learning, education, and training, what I mentioned as LET earlier. And of course, the ultimate mission is to unite, inspire, and equip bioinformatics trainers, not just from a specific region, but worldwide. And this is where the word global as part of the goblet, the G for goblet stands for. And our ethos are to be inclusive, to share, to be open, to innovate, and to be tolerant. All right, thank you. Next slide. Okay, so just to go a little deeper in terms of Goblet's objectives, I meant a community for the trainer. So what exactly that means? What does it stand for? One of the items that I mentioned was the setting standards. So, in terms of training quality, what are some of the basic standards that one would expect? And what about resources? Like, yeah, we have a lot of material available. Can all this material be put in one place so that people can find them? And these are materials that are kind of benchmarked and checked for quality so that there's some sort of a trust. So Goblet actually does provide a resource along with some other providers. So that's one of the other things that Goblet does, and these activities would support. So you don't have to, the idea is that we don't want people to reinvent the wheel. If there's already a slide available on a certain topic and people are happy to share that, so others can use that, of course, giving the due credit, then why not do that so we don't reinvent the wheel? Provide a training portal. Offer training for trainers and users. So there's something called train the trainers, right? So you have trainers who train the trainee, but somebody needs to train them so that they can give the best training. So TTT. So this is one of the goals of Goblet. Offer training for trainers and end users. Develop branded training material and course standards. So this is something I mentioned that goes into these, what you call repositories, where where you upload these materials so others can use them. Raise funds to be able to meet our objectives. Of course, we need some funds to be able to carry out some of these activities. And anything else that the community is struggling with, has some considerations, concerns that we should be addressing. That's also part of Goblet's initiative. So it's a community that supports the trainer. So together, as the picture depicts here, you'll be able to bounce further and higher with the support of this community. Next slide, please. All right, so we do have, a lot of our funds come from, next slide, please. A lot of our funds come from our organizational members. So all these entities that see here have been or are, our members. I don't have the latest list. This is from 2023. So all these were members of last year. Most of them are still members. And we are also having quite a number of individual members who contribute to the effort of Goblet. Next slide, please. Personally, just very briefly about me, my experience in training. Of course, I've been part of Goblet since 2017, but I've been part of the community since 2010 when I joined AP Bionet. And separately, of course, in my own personal journey as an educator from NUS, Johns Hopkins in the US, and NUS from Singapore, Perdana University in Malaysia, Bezmi Alemi in Turkey, and currently I'm in University of Doha for Science and Technology in Qatar. So in my personal journey, I built educational programs. We've trained students at the bachelor's level, master's level, PhD level. So I can relate to a lot of the concerns and the challenges as a trainer myself. So definitely, I do feel a need for something like this, so we can all work together. So Goblet champions this concern of trainers, but it works very closely with other, community organizations, societies, in order to address these concerns. So personally, I've been part of AP Bionet. I've been part of Goblet. I'm also part of MBIS, which is based in Singapore, and I started something called My Bioinfonet in Malaysia when I was there. Next slide, please. All right, so that was very briefly about Goblet. So I hope everyone is aware. Just a small trivia: when I joined Goblet in 2017, not joined, but really attended the first AGM, I really found it funny that they claim to be global. Well, the name stands, G stands for global, and I felt like they have not really done much to be global because most of the activities were in Europe or in Australia or America. So so I made an effort to invite them to Asia. So how can you claim to be global if you've never been to Asia? And they have, of course, been to Africa. So in 2019, we were able to bring them to Asia for the first time. Next slide, please. All right, so in terms of deliverables, I'm just going to briefly touch upon some of the things that Goblet does in terms of events, publications, collaborations, also, securing grants and dissemination of its activities to its members. All right, thank you. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. All right. So in terms of events that it does, one of the biggest event that it does is called Bioinformatics Education Summits. Now it's again very interesting that when I became I feel a lot of people do not know what Goblet is about, what it does, and I really feel that this is a great opportunity for me to share because I went through the same discovery phase. I attended Goblet for the first time in Portugal, 2017, and I didn't really know about the Education Summit, that there is actually such a meeting that takes place on a regular basis. Of course, it didn't take place in 2017, but at least the conversations about it were taking shape. So the first Education Summit took place in 2019. What exactly is this Education Summit? The aim was to bring together bioinformatics trainers and educators to drive the development of standards and guidelines for bioinformatics training and education globally. So Goblet is the organization, but Goblet is not the only organization that cares or has concerns about trainers. There are a few others around the world that also have similar concerns, but although they may not be focusing totally on that aspect. So Goblet, together with some of these other entities, came together to say, okay, in order to move these standards, in order to come up with these standards, we need to meet, we need to discuss, we need to talk, and really come up with some guidelines, some policies, some materials for people to be able to use as a reference in order to abide by this and follow these, so that their training that they're delivering to their trainees can be up to a certain standards that we are expecting people around the world to uphold when they're training people on bioinformatics. So this Education Summit took place for the first time in 2019 in Cape Town. And what's important to note, it's not one of those conferences where people come, they have a bunch of talks, and that's it. This, as a summit, it actually is a working meeting. So it's not a research or a scientific conference, but rather a working meeting. People come together and people really address, discuss, and talk about those challenges and write documents, prepare documents. It's that kind of a meeting. All right. So you're expected to brainstorm, contribute, and share your experiences in order to shape those documents, white documents, right? So okay, so the idea is that they will meet once a year together in a big way, but they will also meet regularly on a monthly basis to keep the momentum going. So as of back then, it had 90 people. I'm not sure whether these numbers are the latest, but 90 people from 35 countries are involved, and the numbers are growing. And this is led by Nikki Mulder from H3A Bionet, which is like the AP Bionet equivalent, but for Africa. Next slide, please. All right. So, of course, after 2019, the next BES happened in 2020, and these are some of the items that were discussed, like competency. So, when you are educating, people in bioinformatics, there should be some sort of a competency framework. What are the competencies we expect people to be able to get from these trainings? So BES tried to define those competencies, and they also identified that people with different personas with different needs perhaps need different competencies. So if you want to work for industry, your competency might be different. If you want to be an academic person, your competency might be different, and etc. So they also try to customize those competencies to different personas. So and this is really a great document, and I feel a lot of people are unaware of these competencies, and there are a lot of bioinformatics training programs that are being developed that are not really leveraging or taking advantage of these competencies. So I really, implore that all of you, do Google for bioinformatics competencies from ISCB, go through those documents, and even encourage your, teachers to look into that. If you are teachers, if you are trainers, to look into that to see how you can incorporate those competencies to be part of your training, framework that you're delivering to your students. So that was one of the main things that they did. Of course, they had some other conversations, discussions, course affiliation, even course or program accreditation. Not many are aware that actually there is, you can get your bioinformatics program accredited, and there's an entity that does this. So ISCB actually is playing that role of actually accrediting programs. So you could get your program accredited. You can just apply to not EpiBionet, but ISCB, and then they will get in touch with you to share with you how you can do it. Again, these are things that many are not aware, and this was developed through this Bioinformatics Education Summit. And like coming up with the repositories where people can dump materials, etc. There were just so many other conversations. I don't want to spend too much time on the Bioinformatics Education Summit, but it has been happening on a regular basis. So 2019, 2020, 2021. Next slide, please. 20 and so on. And the one in 2023, if I'm not wrong, was actually, or 2022, I think, was organized by EpiBionet, and Prash was involved. I think Prash and Harpreet were involved in that. So they contributed to that, and it went on to 2023, and most recently, 2024. Can you go to the next slide? And in 2024, next slide, please. Yeah. So there's a bit of a shift. It became GBES, so Global Bioinformatics Education Summit. And this was the first time actually this summit went to to North America. All right. And a lot of the individuals in America were not aware of. So it was a very good, visibility opportunity for this effort to be known by other trainers in America. And hopefully we can get GBES to come to Asia someday. The plan was when Harpreet and Prash organized it with EpiBionet, it was during COVID, so it was online. Hopefully the next one we can do it again, and it will be in Asia. All right, so GBES, it's now called GBES. It was in America this May. It was very successful. I contributed and participated. And any one of you, if you're interested in hosting this, you can always write to them and suggest to bring GBES to your country so that more people can become aware. Next slide, please. All right, now, so GBES is one of the major events that GOBLET is involved in. Separately, GOBLET has its own annual general meeting. Like any organization, society, you'll have your annual general meeting once a year. So since it started in 2012, in 2021, it had its 10th AGM. So every year, without fail, it would have its AGM. And the AGM kind of evolved. It started with only just the AGM. And over time, it evolved to actually have some talks, some little discussions or workshops around the AGM. And of course, during COVID, we had a bit of a struggle going virtual, hybrid, and all that. I don't want to go into that. But of late, and by the way, you have on the right side the list of countries where it had gone for the AGM. And you would notice that in 2019, it was the first time in Asia. And we also tried to bring it to second time in Asia, which was in Istanbul, Turkey. Of course, as Turkey has both Europe and Asia, but it was held in the Asian part. So, and for the third time, we're going to bring it to Asia in 2024. But a bit of a shift took place, and this is personally one of the things that I've been pushing for. Again, after bringing them to in Asia in 2019, I also highlighted that that this AGM can be transformed to be an opportunity of an annual education meeting. So the education summit is good. It's where you discuss and make and create wide documents, but you still need awareness of education related work and spread that awareness to the community. I really feel a lot GOBLET has a lot to offer, but not many people are aware. And not everyone can attend the Bioinformatics Education Summit, and not everyone can contribute to that summit, right? But many more would like to, be part of this, some sort of like a conference-like event that is led by GOBLET. So my effort personally was to transform this AGM. It had already started taking that shape, but to really transform it into a full-blown conference. And the first time we were able to do that was in 2012. Sorry, not 2012, 2022 in Turkey. This is when I was in Turkey. I was able to organize that first meeting into a full-blown conference. And I'm hoping to do the same for the second time. And this time we're going to go a bit more grander. And I'm hoping that after 2024, this will become the regular format of the AGM. So it's not just an annual general meeting, but an annual general meeting at the center, surrounded by the periphery by a lot of other activities that would invite the community to be part of it and get to know GOBLET in its truest sense, what it does, and how can the community can contribute to GOBLET's agenda. Next. All right, so this is what I just said, transform into a full-blown event, and it would have like keynotes, oral, posters, eduthon. And eduthon is something we started in 2012. Sorry, I keep going to 2022, and actually Prash contributed and actually won, was one of the awardees. And we are hoping to revive this in 2024, and I hope many of you would contribute and participate as part of the eduthon hackathon. All right, and of course, workshops and etc. So this was the 22 version. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the 2024. It's going to be happening in Doha, Qatar from 20 to 21 November. I invite all of you to consider joining, participating this event. The website, I can share the website later. I can share with Prash and actually our advertisement will be going out. So I'll be sharing to Bioclues and you'll see that. Next slide, please. And at this event, we are hoping to invite quite a number of luminaries of the field to talk about the evolution of bioinformatics education over the years in various different contexts. Next slide, please. All right, so GBES is one, the AGM now transformed into something we call a colloquium of bioinformatics learning, education, and training, GOBLET with a C. And because GOBLET was being confused with goblet, so we added I GOBLET, International Colloquium, etc. So of course, besides that, we have other things that we do, and these are workshops, and we do carry out quite a number of workshops, and depending on the demand. So clarifying training materials has been one of the focus area with a number of workshops over the years. Train the trainer, of course, that's kind of the heart of what GOBLET is all about, training the trainers, and along the way also some research-based workshops where people learn something about single cell RNA sequence data analysis or omics related data analysis. Next slide, please. And we're happy to do other workshops depending on demand. And there were few others, in subsequent years, omics related data analysis for trainers training. So when I say research, it's about how do you train people to do those research, so that so no, so it's not just about learning bioinformatics, but also learning how to do bioinformatics research. That's also part of the GOBLET's mandate. And we do have partnership with Elixir to do many of these trainers from time to time. Next slide, please. All right, publications. So those are events in terms of publications. Next slide, please. We do have three kind of key types of publications. The first category is called critical guides. These are introductory guides for people who are really venturing into bioinformatics. I had someone was saying she's a biochemist and getting into the world of bioinformatics. She's learning so much, and this would be a good place for you to go to get some sort of an introduction to bioinformatics. So very much like introductory guides. It includes teaching goals, learning outcomes, key terms, exercises, take homes, further readings, and some of the items, some of the guides that we have produced is like basic Unix, UniProt KB, UniProt KB flat file, Blast, Interpro, PDB, NextPro. There's more to be done, and we are hoping that others would come forward to contribute. This was largely led by Terry, Professor Terry from University of Manchester, and these are available on F1000. All right, so the second area of publications that we do produce is called GOBLET Practical Guides. These are bringing bioinformatics into classroom, mostly tailored for high school students. So if you are interested in introducing bioinformatics to high schoolers, these are some of the materials that you could utilize. We are also hoping that that some of these materials could be translated in other languages. So if you're interested in contributing to those translations, we are more than happy to welcome you to help us out. And there could be some new topics that you may want to, help us contribute, and maybe create a writing team to look into some of these. Again, these are available on the F1000 website. The other category is professional guides. So this is professional guide for the trainers who train the trainees. So we do have some of these professional guides. So how do you design courses? What are some of the considerations? And we also have something called mastery rubrics for bioinformatics. What are some of the modules for the trainer packages, principles of learning, etc. Next slide, please. Also, this is available on the F1000 GOBLET collection page. And last year, actually, we had some very notable publications. I'm going to go through very quickly. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to go through each one of them. Next slide, please. Okay, so one of the major publications that came out last year is Grand Challenges. Again, I'm happy to share that Harpreet and Prash are part of this. This is actually an effort that we championed at OT Bionet, where we created a bioinformatics Grand Challenges consortium. And one of the areas that we tackled first was bioinformatics education. So we formed some sort of a working committee that would work on coming up with the grand challenges for bioinformatics education. The question was, what are the challenges that we think the bioinformatics community will face in the next 10 to 20 years when it comes to bioinformatics education. So we really met many months and we came up with the list. We had like 19, which we narrowed down to 7 eventually. And then we have described all of this in the paper, which you can read. The other paper is this Bicycles as Principles paper. This is a very good paper whereby there's this notion that when people organize workshops 1 year in, 1 year out, because workshops are very short, you learn a little and then you forget, you move on. Workshops are very good for what you call this awareness. But how do you then, make workshops really a platform for you to build upon your competency and improve your career along the way? So the bicycle principle, explains how you can make these workshops sustainable and become a career trajectory moving opportunity for you. And the last one, major paper that we have published is about bioschema. So how do you create, some these specifications for standardization of training information so that other people can find the training material that you're looking for. This is very good for the resources where people dump the training material. So we have also come up with this. Next, and we have many other publications that you can go through. Next, please. All right, so that's about that. In terms of strategic collaborations, very quickly, um, next, please. So Goblet works, with maybe the major bioinformatics entities, ISCB, Elixir, AP Bionet, and is happy to collaborate with many others. And in collaborating with these entities, what it does is it tries to be present in their conferences. So, for example, ISCB, its flagship conference is ISMD, and Goblet has been there on a regular basis. AP Bionet, its flagship conference is INCOB, and Goblet has been there since 2019, contributing. And of course, Goblet also works with ECCB, which is the European Conference on Bioinformatics, and ECCB partners with ISMD from time to time. And most recently, EpiBionet has been, has been pushing forward towards the what do you call that? Bringing together the bioinformatics community in Asia Pacific to organize a joint congress or conference from time to time in a day. Bioclues won't even from year to year, but we thought of maybe every 3 years we don't do our event. We just come together to do a major event. So this is APBJC and Asia Pacific Bioinformatics Joint Congress. And this is a collaboration with Goblet. We basically participate in their conference and try to promote Goblet at the ICB to the ICB participants. Next slide, please. With ECCB, very similar to the contribution that we make at the ICB. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the same. Next slide, please. Elixir, with Elixir, Goblet has actually a joint training strategy since 2015. We have this agreement where we'll be, providing these train-the-trainer trainings from time to time, and mostly it's taken advantage by people from people in the Europe. But I think something similar should be done for Asia and other regions. So these are some of the highlights listed over there. And Goblet with EpiBionet, as I mentioned, we were able to bring them to Asia for the first time in 2019. And since that meeting, we have been having an education track as part of INCOP, which is the flagship conference of EpiBionet, without fail. And this year, of course, we'll be having EpiBGC. We will not be having INCOP, and we will be having EpiBGC. This is a major event because the idea, at least the notion is that, when you go to ISMB, you feel like what you see is 2,000 people coming together. When you go to bioinformatics conferences in Asia Pacific, you have 200, 300. In India, usually you have a lot because of the huge population there. But in other conferences, usually you have very small number. So why not come together so we all can be at one place and really have this, wonderful conversations and discussions about bioinformatics. And that's what APBJC is about. And I hope many of you will take the opportunity to be part of this in October in Okinawa, Japan. Thank you. Next slide, please. So I know I'm not sure how much time is left, but I'm going to try to rush up. Securing grants. The next slide, please. So of course, Goblet needs funds to carry out some of these activities. So it's involved in trying to get, to kind of support others in getting funding that's related to education, but it also tries to apply for its own funding in order to support its own activities. So, for example, grants to support AGM, its own AGM from time to time. It is involved in support. It was involved in supporting combined NIH, sorry, NHF, NSF, National Science Foundation of America, and many others over there. And some of these are kind of given to people who are participating. It's AGM in so in Coblet 2022, we had some micro grants where people could participate in that event. So and this is an example of Goblet lending its name for a funding whereby you have some elements of teaching and all that. Goblet doesn't get any money, but through Goblet's participation, it makes the proposal look even stronger and better, especially when you have elements of teaching. And Goblet is happy to support those initiatives. So this was funded in 2022, if I'm not wrong, and this is ongoing. So if there's any funding that you would like to apply and you feel Goblet's presence could help, especially if those applications are education related, we'll be more than happy to provide us our support. So do reach out to us. Next. All right, the last item before we wrap it up. So we have our public relations and outreach committee, and this is how we try to spread the message. I don't think we are doing a very good job. There's a lot more to be desired. And of late, we were struggling with manpower because everybody who's part of the exco is volunteering, and there's only very little time that people can dedicate to volunteer work. Anyway, we are hoping to change that from this year onwards by hiring somebody to do this on a full-time basis for us. So hopefully you'll be hearing more about Goblet. And we're also hoping to start some sort of a webinar series where we can invite members to present about what they're doing, about their needs, and how Goblet can contribute to that. Next slide, please. All right, and then the last part, the journey and where we are heading. Next, please. All right, so we started in 2012. Goblet was born. It's, I think, 12 years now, 12 years plus. So not a decade plus old. And over these years, we have built a global bioinformatics training community. At least, through the members, we do have a training community. We have this education summit, and we really get to see this training community at the education summit because that's when they really gather in full force. And we see the wonderful work that the community has come up with, has produced over the years, and that hopefully will benefit as many as possible. I don't think the benefit has really reached out to as many that they should, but hopefully more and more will become aware and will take advantage of that. And ultimately, we are we were, Goblet was born out of the needs of the community, and it is for the community. It's not by a bunch of people for just themselves. It is meant for the whole community out there, and it should be discussing across topics, research domains, institutes, projects. Sorry, can you go back? Projects. Can you go back to the last slide? Previous slide, please. No, sorry. Moving to the previous slide, please. Slide before. Slide before, please. No, before. Go before. And then before again. And one more time. All right. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is, the G again. It's supposed to be truly global. I don't think it has become truly global, and I need your help to make it truly global. Please reach out to us. Please connect with us so that we can break the barriers and really reach out across languages, across cultures, infrastructures, countries, and tell us how Goblet can hear, can actually contribute. One of the problems Goblet has been facing in terms of its identity, people in the West, they don't really feel the need because they seem to be, knowing what to do, what they have the necessary support and infrastructure, and that's good. We're happy with that, and we're trying to see how we can help them further. But a lot of what Goblet was really built for, actually, the need for that is in other parts of the world, Africa, Asia, and maybe other in Central Asia, etc. And this is where I think we need to work harder and to bring forth so that it's a level playing field across the board, so that
everybody has all the necessary support to be able to reach greater heights and do the best work they can in terms of bioinformatics and train in the best way possible their trainees. Next slide, please. All right, so, and again, just to remind, Goblet is not alone. There are others who are doing something similar. And instead of seeing that as a competition, we should see that as a leverage, as a halo effect. We all should come together and see how we can, there's no ownership. It feels like Goblet owns this. I don't think that's true. We all own this. We all are responsible. It's just that Goblet is trying to do, what they're doing. So there are a lot of other efforts, and we should come together in order to create a community of practice and and learn about some of these best practices. And so that we can waste, efforts by doing the same thing. Next, please. And this actually is something that is actually being discussed at the education summit. And these are just some of the items, some of the objectives of those conversations and discussions. So I invite, I implore that Bioclues and other entities who are participating today to join the education summit so that their voices can be heard and they can shape the path forward. Next slide, please. Where we are heading, I don't think I don't think we are there where we want to be. I think there's a lot more to be done, but definitely we have made a lot of progress. We have at least gotten started. We have at least gotten to know some of the people who are active in this front. But there's a lot more that needs to be done. We need more community members to get involved. We need many of you who are attending today to be part of this. And again, really, it's at the end of the day, it's you all, it's us together making this difference. So with a joint vision and goal and a passionate and committed community members and persevering and with determination and hard work, I believe that we'll be able to achieve some of those some of those wish lists that we have that we think from time to time in terms of what the community should be really all about and the deprivation, the lacking
have any questions for Asif, please? I'm sorry for this. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Any questions for Asif? Yeah. So I recently joined, GOBLET as an executive member, and kind of a learning experience. A wonderful leader, not only with the signs that he always tries to guzzle, but also takes the organization forward. With together we can philosophy. Thank you, Asif. So I have two points for this agenda for the discussion.
One second, Prash. Can we take a photo with Asif? Second, Prash. Can we take a photo with Asif?
Yeah. Asif is also there for this panel discussion. Yeah. First, if you want, if you think that you want to steal the show, taking me as a very good photographer, then you can take the photograph. I know you're always. I know you always compete with me, Sundarda, for a photograph. Yeah. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm with a very lazy face today.
Yeah. Can everyone sit on your camera, please?
Yes. Everyone, please. Harpreet, Hemani, Sundarda, Jaram sir, Kiran, Manjari, Pradeep, Poonam. After Sundarda takes the photograph, you please compare whose photograph is best. Was it mine or was it Sundarda's? Okay? Sundarda will take the photograph. Yeah, please. Entered. Yeah.
Poonam, can you switch on your Pradeep, Poonam, Darshan?
Poonam, can you switch on your Pradeep, Poonam, Darshan?
All of you switch off. Don't worry. I will not post it anywhere.
All of you switch off. Don't worry. I will not post it anywhere.
We need to.
Sorry, Pradeep. Quick.
Sorry, Pradeep. Quick. 10 seconds.
Okay, done. Thank you. It's a 1 minute break I gave. Okay.
Main things in this agenda for the next 15-20 minutes, as Asif pointed, we in countries, largely South Asian countries. I'm largely specifically talking about the countries like India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Nepal, Burma, and Bhutan, who are currently, where we are referring as SAMBICS networked countries. So, are we probably that discouraged in setting up certain in particular matter to a very good entrepreneur? I mean, in mathematics. What is that kind of hindrance existing with us? Is there a kind of an inherent stigma that Chike, if we want to go out, that would give us enough impetus to sustain over there, and probably in coming to our respective countries, so Jana,
Prash, you are muted.
I'm not muted. How about now? Is my voice audible? Yeah.
Yeah, now it's better. Now it's better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What I was requesting is just to switch on your camera, please, and unmute your microphone and tell us, what is that kind of hindrance or inherent stigma in making, fellow Indians or Pakistanis or Bangladeshis or Sri Lankas in returning back to India, please. Yeah, thank you. Uh, yeah, Gyan, please unmute your microphone, please.
Namaste. Good afternoon. There is something is echoing. Can you turn off my?
Now you can speak. Now you can speak. It's Brush when he switches on the microphone, there is an echo. Now he has muted, so you can speak.
Okay, wonderful. So thanks, Bras. Anyways, so the problem is not actually the very serious thing which we should consider, but it depends on the training of the PhD students. Usually, the training of PhD students remains a bit lower comparing to the European or those nations. So usually people prefer to be into the Western countries. People who are more associated with the nation, many of them have various responsibilities back to the country. So they most of the time they think to come back, but after 5 or after 10 years, they get engulfed into the Western system and usually returning to the more complicated nation. I would say because the uncertainty in India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and remaining South Asian countries are much more higher comparing to the Western world where life is more settled, life is more easy. So and also many of them usually they evaluate the returns to India, and most of the times you see that people working into the Western nations and living there, they used to publish very high impact journals. But as soon as they come back to India, many of them they usually fail, and the reason is mostly I would say that is related with the fundings. They don't get very high level of the fundings into these South Asian countries, and the experiments which they plan is mostly expensive experiments, and usually without the money they don't work. So these things are the basic problems usually people of South Asian nations they suffer. But there are other sides of the coin as well. We can see that there are a few very successful Indians or even Pakistanis. I know even a Bangladeshi a lady who worked in Canada and then returned back to India, returned back to Bangladesh, and there she has done the wonders. So even you can take the example of Prash and many others in India as well. So these possibilities and then many other many other points usually they are not applied everywhere in every situation and on every individual, but in many of the cases we see that it has worked. The outcome was quite positive, and the people who have performed just silently and not a very high standard into the Western nation, they outperformed while returning back to their South Asian countries. So this also happens uh, in the case of various researchers, and also various fellowships, which usually comes from the agencies, either Indian funding agencies or the West or the Pakistan or Sri Lankan funding agencies. They are not so enough to support the research as well as the lifestyle of a person who is returning back to the own country. So I suppose that these are the problems, but still there are many who have taken the risk and who have returned back and they are doing well. So there are both of the sides of the coins which are usually functioning in this case, and this is happening since I think even 50 to 100 years. Yeah, this is it, Prash. I would.
Yeah, thank you, Gyan. Thank you so much. They're all very valid points. Those are all very valid points. So, Asif, do you have any quick say, please? I mean, from your experience now, having been an expatriate, working for various countries, what do you think, that could be the, reason, Dietrich? If you can be, a bit crisp and short, please. Yeah, thank you.
I say whatever Toby expressed earlier was kind of direct to the point.
There is some lag in the voice.
Very nicely. Um, I feel those things aside, and of course, people coming back are making a difference, whether openly. Yeah, let me move a little. Is it better? Prash, is it okay? Any feedback? Can you hear me?
You're audible.
You're audible.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to add three things. I think we as societies, like AP Bionet, Bioclues, and GOBLET, I think some of these not well translated. Of course, well intended, but somehow I don't think this is maximized in the best way possible. And part of the problem is because we are all volunteers, so we only can do whatever we can do with the little time that we have. But for example, I just feel there's a lot of redundancy, a lot of redundancy of efforts. For example, um, so many of us are organizing this our own conferences, although that's I think important and good. And I feel what IPBGC is trying to achieve, that's going to be some sort of a game changer in terms of research. But and research part I think is going well, but it's the other part, which is the infrastructure, the training, the needs of people in order to do the best they can. Of course, training is very important before research, before you can have excellence in research. and the training, what are the kinds of training that our students are getting, and our trainers are they well prepared, and so I think we need to have something to create like we have the education summit that's trying to do something, but I don't think the education summit is really addressing some of the bigger challenges, at least in Asia Pacific. Like we need not a we need a platform where people don't come just to talk about the work they're doing. We need a platform to identify real issues, and we need a platform for people to work on these real issues so that we can identify action items and then see what are the follow-ups for those action items. And the representatives of these could be from different countries. I think something like that doesn't happen. So the model of the education summit, but really translated in a much larger way. But perhaps I guess for our side, focusing on Asia Pacific, something like that, we don't. When we have conferences, people come, people present, people move on, and you don't really remember much of that, and it's mostly networking. So, but for research, that's fine. But I think we need to have the other aspect, which is the education, the training, and all that. But for the training and education, it shouldn't be very similar. People come and just talk about the kind of research that they're doing for education, but it should be in the form of a summit where real issues are discussed. It's like a working meeting. We need a working meeting kind of a thing, and this should be represented by different countries, and at the country level, it needs to be represented by there should be a voice, a country representative, and the country representative hears the voice of the various entities within the country. Some sort of a nice structure that brings all of us together in a systematic way. I think that would actually bring a lot of benefit and connect us in a better way, so that we avoid just repeating and doing the same thing, because we all have very similar problems. We all have very similar problems, but we all try to do it in our own way. So in summary, just making our efforts more systematic, more organized, less redundant, I think can go a long way. And people will find this effort as a home to connect to and to leverage upon. But I don't see this happening. Even Happy Bionet and Goblet, I don't think has actually gotten to that point in making this happen. That's it from my side. Quick one.
Yeah, thank you, Asif. I mean, very valid points. Yeah, Ashutosh, do you have any say on the scenario from Bangladesh, please? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prash. And following Ganesha and Asif, for you, as I mentioned in my presentation, Bangladesh is still in the infancy, kind of like infrastructures and particularly in the academic side, because we only got two different academic program right now. But what, in my point of view, the bioinformatics in Bangladesh is not that well connected because of the lacking of the richest culture here. Because as Ganesh said, that Sejuti came back from Canada, and she is working with the Child Research Health Foundation. Is mostly focused on her institute based. So as I said, the shortcoming here in Bangladesh is like the inter-institute connection. The group is working like fire brigade system. The networking is missing here, and the other one issue is the big issue is the funding, because the funding here in Bangladesh, like it's very minimal, particularly in the bioinformatics area. If you can't get it in the agri bioinformatics or something in the because Bangladesh government is more focusing on the blue economics and something like that. So I did not see so many people are working with that area, including the bioinformatics things. And one more thing is that is the kind of like, particularly in, these days we are almost in a different situation. That way, like people coming from like abroad, they got very well trained, and very good publication over there, and when they came back, they are failing to regenerate what they have done over there. And also the as Asif said, sometimes we do repetition here because of the missing networking system. So far, I would say that Bangladesh still need to connect something with the, let's say, with the GOBLET, EpiBionet, something. I know maybe some people they are connected, but still there is limitation for global connection in the sense of bioinformatics research and education. So I would say if Senbix is working and we get more people here from Bangladesh on board and get a better network and like get something fruitful for Bangladeshi bioinformatics education and research. So that's it from my side.
I think. Yeah, thank you, Ashutosh. That is, in fact, a very valid point. Unfortunately, Elias is not there. He sent me a message that, there's some connection problem. Unfortunately, none of the Sri Lankan members attended. I mean, this also begs to a very important point. I mean, where are we probably, going wrong? I mean, when we have certain conferences like Sandbags, when we have, such kind of things, for, learning to yearn or yearning to learn, unfortunately, very sorrow, numbers, we come to hear, for example, Ashutosh has sent a list of, 9 Bangladeshis. Of course, there is some internet problem. There are some chaotic situations in the universities over there with the internet. That's understandable. Likewise, in Sri Lanka, Sumati Srirangapala is another, scientist working in the University of Colombo. I requested him. And we trained about 287 members in Sri Lanka, going all the way to Sri Lanka, organizing workshops. And I see none of them, attending this particular, wonderful event today. They're all there in Bioclues. So this has really been, very alarming, very surprising. And I'm just, fail to understand, where are we probably going wrong? Is it a kind of an inherent stigma that student scientists are, facing post-COVID? Is it a kind of, piggybacking between maybe imposter syndrome and Dunning-Kruger syndrome? Or is it the inherent failure of the ecosystem that we as scientists are trying to probably, lack of, motivation that, that they are probably getting it? Or if I can probably go one step forward and say that, is it a lack of, what you call, interest in them that is really, being made these days? So I mean, I'm just, searching for probably the truth here, searching for, a very varied answer. And it really, pains me a lot, to speak like this, that, when we organize such kind of events, not more than 25 or 30 are attending, what's wrong? This discussion is very open to everyone, please. Anyone? Yeah. Thank you.
Prash, can I share something?
Please, Asif, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was in Malaysia for 8 years, one of the goals was to do something for bioinformatics, and I would go around and ask people about what do they think about bioinformatics, and you will hear very loud and clear response. Oh, it's very important. Great, and we need to do something. So we went about developing programs. So our first program was postgraduate diploma in bioinformatics. Then we went to them and say, okay, we have launched this program. Please sign up, so that you will learn and gain all the expertise needed for you to be able to do bioinformatics research. And the numbers were very, very small. The response was very poor. So we were like, okay, where are we going wrong? Oh, and then the response was, postgraduate diploma is not very important, not valuable to improve our career trajectory. We need a master's. I said, fine. So we built a master's program by research. And then the next problem, they said, by research, it's like, there's no clear-cut timeline of when will you finish. It's very committed. You have to be very committed. You need a lot of time. Most of us are already working. How are we going to find time to do full-time research? So we did have few people, of course, but majority were not signing up. So we said, fine, we'll create a master's program by coursework. So it's well defined, and you will graduate within a well defined time. We did that, and then even then the numbers were not coming. So ultimately, people were throwing all kinds of excuses. Oh, we have family and we don't have time. Everybody's working and blah blah. So, and I think so. One big problem is people are learning about the importance of bioinformatics when it's a little too late. Either they're working or they're doing some other studies. They didn't realize this was going to be important. One guy, he graduated with PhD only to discover that he now needs to do bioinformatics, which he had not, prepared himself for. So it's usually the awareness comes very late. So I think one suggestion is this awareness about the importance of bioinformatics, how it's changing life science, should be taking place at the high school level. We should, basically make this change at the root level, and the root is high schoolers. These people are the ones who are going to go out knowing that this is bioinformatics and this is what it's doing to their life sciences, to medicine, etc. So that's one thing. The other thing is, so when people are more aware, they're going to be able to take them up more and more prepared. The other thing we learned was that, what eventually worked for us was a boot camp. So we did also workshops, and we did have a good number, but workshops, you come in, you go out, you forget. So we were not aware about the bicycle principle back then. But anyway, so we created something called a boot camp. Boot camps were so you have these courses in your program. Basically, you take those courses and you offer it just independently, and you offer it like once a week, 4 hours once a week over a time that you think most people would be comfortable with. And that's when we had an uptick. We had more participation. Things were because now they're not tied down to some sort of a program. They're not tied down to some timing. We were flexible with the timing. We could shift it if some people were not available. So ultimately, I think people are looking for some flexibility. People are looking for less commitment, more. I think more less tying down kind of a commitment. They're willing to commit, but it shouldn't tie them down. And of course, financially, it should also be bite-sized. I mean, we have this airline called AirAsia, and everything is bite-sized. You pay for almost every single thing. You don't. So there's no package. Like you bite-size and you choose and buy whatever you want. So I think bioinformatics needs to become bite-sized, and awareness needs to start at the high school level. Then maybe some of these problems that we are seeing hopefully would go away. That's my
thank you so much, Asif, and that's a very valid point. In fact, we realized this way back in 2008 during my brief stint in Pune. That was how, through Teach India program, we started bioinformatics for school children, and over the last 6 years, we have got wonderful cohorts, through Bioclues, bioinformatics for school children program, where all our faculty, headed by Sundar, we are trying to work towards this. Yeah, thank you so much, Asif. Very valid points. Kiran, do you have a quick point? Kiran, please, be very brief. Thank you.
I'll cover my point in my next talk. That's fine. You can skip mine. I'll cover my point later.
Yeah. No, you can go ahead, Kiran. That's going to be the summary that you're going to give. So please, let's discuss the panel. Yeah, please.
I think one of the main points what I feel is after the COVID, it was kind of really adjusting, because during the COVID, many people were doing a lot of things online, and it's not easy that's the one of the major thing. And of course, I see still optimism, because people are trying to adjust and then come. Now, when they're coming back, where do we go? What we lack in the South Asian network in this region is open source philosophy. This is a big thing, because we can share and we can do, where we don't use any of the open source things. I mean, I know we are using it, but the percentage is very, very less, I feel. And that's where, because we are not able to proceed as in projects or doing tasks. That's all my points, couple of points.
Yeah, thank you, Kiran. Well said. Yeah. Anyone has any points, please? Yeah. Tedraj, Harpreet, Manjari. Anyone else, please?
Can I tell?
Yes, Sandra, please. Yeah. Please.
One thing I realized while working last couple of years with a graduate student or master student, right? Initially, they are very aggressive. When they realize it's big hard for them to do, right? Suddenly they go vanish, which I don't see with the kids. With the kids are learning. Whatever we teach, whether hard or that, it takes time to learn and give time. But graduate students, really, I fed up actually. Many times I feel they're unable to, they feel like they want to take a very small thing and then try to see enough like that. They don't want to go beyond that because we want to help them. We are trying our best, but they don't want to give time. So that's a bottleneck because probably masters like they are more keen on getting job after a while. So that's the main purpose. So they are deviated from the. So my suggestion, they should work hard, complete this 3 to 6 month project, so that they achieve something, learn something. We are giving time. Then they can get a better job rather than they lose the project and don't do anything and get some small job, something like that. If they achieve, get a pay, that will be a better option.
Yeah. That will be a better option. Wonderful, though. Very well said. Thank you so much, Sunita. We also realize that there's no free coffee or chocolate everywhere. HR Mon sir is a world ambassador for IEEE for India. He made a point in the chat box just now. Mohan sir, would you like to say any few words, please, by unmuting a microphone?
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very interesting sections basically, but only thing is, as you have mentioned, the participation level is low, and I totally agree with you. In fact, even in our forums also, we face a similar situation. So we try to organize programs with experts from various parts of the world, not limiting to India alone. So we get people from abroad and things like that. And we also know the participation level is quite low. But unfortunately, while doing the registration, we find the number of registrations are much higher. The participation level is something close to about 10 to 15%. So that is slightly, quite. I mean, it looks very odd. How can be so much? One reason possibly is that we are making the presentation live stream, as well as we keep the archives, of the presentation. So that possibly could be making the people that they can always see at any point of time, like on demand. They can see that. That is one thing. And the second reason is nowadays the general tendency is that people can get any information from the web on demand at the point of requirement. So which means that pre-learning, it doesn't need to be done, and they want to allocate their time for something which demands their higher priority. So these are the two reasons could be the thing. But my feeling is that they're all missing the opportunity of learning from the experts.
Yeah, very true, sir. Thank you so much for those, again, those very well valid points. In fact, I'm not sure if you have attended Asif's talk. Asif has been, working very hard, towards collaborations with Elixir, Europe, and also, partnerships, of course, with ISCB and AP Banet and other initiatives. Maybe IEEE can also, form a part of it as well, through GOBLET as well. Which we'll definitely get back to you. Yeah. So in the meantime, maybe Harpreet, Jeraman sir or Harpreet, do you have any quick points to say? Sorry, sir. Yeah.
No, I just wanted to add one more point. This IEEE has got an exclusive facility called Data Port, wherein a lot of data sets are available for the researchers. Biotechnology is one area where the data sets are, I think, more than 1,000 data sets are available. So people may find it very, very useful. This is a facility called Data Port, IEEE Data Port.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Jeraman sir, VKJ sir, Harpreet, any other points, please? Yeah, from anyone else?
Raj, I think you have covered the.
Sir, Raj, Subbu. Yeah.
Can I make a point,
Bhatta? Yeah. Poonam.
Raj, I think you have covered the.
Most of the points are covered first.
Yeah. Sorry, someone was saying, I'm sorry, was it Poonam or yeah, please, yeah.
Manjari, I'm here.
Sorry, Manjari. Yeah, please, Manjari, please, yeah.
Yeah. Just adding to the last point, the discussion where we have been asking ourselves, where are we, why are we wrong, or why is it that there is no much active participation? I think we have to understand the psychology of, the basic individual here. Everybody, when they register, even if it's paid, they do register because they have an interest in there. But after that, what happens? We have to understand that the slowly their interest keeps declining. So it is our, the whoever the one who conducts it, it's their responsibility to keep up the inspiration there, because we have to somehow, we live in a society where we have Insta reels, YouTube shorts. The attention span is coming down post COVID. Somehow I think everybody has this lag of attention span, however big or small. Everybody faces this, and we have to take this into reality when we have virtual sessions like these, especially virtual sessions like these. Offline, Sunaka, please kindly mute yourself. Yeah, sorry. So I think offline sessions are you are completely physically present, but when an online session is there, you have n number of works. You have to take time out of it. Apart from that, you have to focus. Focus is somewhere we are lacking. So I feel that is one thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Manjari. I completely agree. Yeah. So, friends, I just thought, we should wind it up, with Kiran's summary, and that will be followed by, vote of thanks by Manjari. But I just thought, again, not to bore you much. We had a great, what do you call? Expectation at some point of time when we started LANBICS, Lankan Conference on Bioinformatics in 2020. I mean, we spent a lot of time, energies, monies. I personally went to Colombo a couple of times. Ensure that Bioinformatics Brethren is taken up. We even started a Lankan chapter. Now we even have a Bangladesh chapter. We also thought of Pakistani chapter as well. At the end of the day, we are all humans first, and next comes our professional entities like biologists or bioinformaticists or geneticists or whatever. At the end of the day, we as humans, we need to be a bit selfish for the fact that we all need to join our hands together across the borders, across the barriers, and most importantly, ensuring that together we can sustain. Of course, there are always ifs and buts. There are always certain challenges and road ahead. At the end of the day, what makes us human is just that kind of entity that our human race moves to the next generations with only one particular action, that is joining hands together. I think that activity would definitely be taken forward when we just think that yes, okay, what's in stake for us, and then what's in stake for the person sitting next to us. So if you're not probably thinking of the second point, and if you're only thinking about only the first point, probably we are at a huge loss. And second thing is, I think we should not keep too much of expectations. That is also a very important thing. If you're really keeping too much of expectations, maybe we might probably miss the boat, and we might probably think that okay, the expectations that we have really kept, we have not really reached that particular goal. Let's have some hunger. At the same time, let's not keep too much expectations, and at the same time, let's also ensure that we are working towards some mandates, some kind of goals, and with a vision that we wanted to reach with a far-paced action, say 10 years down the lane. And I hope SANBICS has really set this precedent for us, has set a goal for us. When we set up LANBICS in 2020, we thought that we will at least sustain for 10 years, but we couldn't sustain for more than 3 years. I mean, 2023 last year was the last conference. We couldn't sustain after that. 2024 today we have started SANBICS. Of course, no competing interests at all. We always walk through all the people through AP Bionet, through GOBLET, through ISCB, or through whatever, and we join hands together for a greater force and ensure that we as South Asian bioinformaticists can at least make our head high and say that yes, we are from a developing country, and yet we had certain inhibitions, we had certain challenges, and we overcame overcame successfully, through whatever barriers or bridges that we have had. So that is my final take. And Asif and Gyan and Ilyas and Ashutosh, as everyone has rightly said, that we have APJBC Asia Conference. We at Bioclues are also minor partners. Renuka and Sundarda will be representing APJBC conference for sure. So that is rest assured, from us from Bioclues. And with this, I think I would like to thank all the speakers for this. But before which, Kiran will give the summary, followed by Manjari's final say. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, over to you, Kiran. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Prash,
Prash,
Jaraman sir
Jaraman
has
sir
raised
has raised
something to
something
say.
to say.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry. I'm using mobile phone. I couldn't see that. Sorry, Jaraman sir, please. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
For the sake of time, I will keep my points a little less. So, what I wanted to say was students who take biological sciences come there, most of them, because they are scared of mathematics. Now, this the biological sciences, mathematics has become so important, and rigorous models are being built in mathematics domain. There should be a sea change in the syllabus in the high schools as well as in colleges. So, what sort of this thing help our advice the groups we have can be able to give them? Is there a way to educate them? Like Asif said, training the trainers is something. I think there's a lack of staff who know proper mathematics and modern tools in mathematics departments across many countries, including India. So, what is your take on that? Yeah, anybody? Yeah.
Yeah, sir, that is what wonderfully Asif has been, steering up the show. I mean, that is what we learned even whence writing that wonderful article as well. Even every now and then, those the training program and the kind of, healthy discussions that, Asif and Harpreet, would really be a part of this. That has really been, very, very, very helpful. And not only that, there is a consortium, bioinformatics consortium on docking and molecular dynamics simulation that both Asif and Harpreet were a part of that. In fact, I couldn't be a part of that because that's not my expertise. But if there is anyone who wants to be a part of that consortium, they can contact them. Yeah. So over to maybe someone else for Jaraman sir's point on training the trainers thing. Asif, would you like to say anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add.
Yeah,
I
I
think
just
I
want to
totally
add.
agree. Sorry, there's echo. I totally agree with Prof. Jayaraman. I feel this train the trainer is really lacking. Even I mean, from Goblet's perspective, we don't think there's much going on. Although I think we all can agree that there's much need for this. We all maybe sometimes assume that we are very good trainers, but it's not necessarily the best researcher. A good researcher will be a very good teacher, and teaching is a whole different ball game. So we do need to get the necessary training from people who are well versed with these things, so that we can provide the best teaching to our students. As mentioned by Prof. Jaraman, math is a common fear factor among students who want to take up bioinformatics, and those who have already decided to take up the challenge and they still have. But that can be dissipated or mitigated, if the teacher is very well aware of these concerns and is able to handle these students in a way that that would overcome their fear. Because there are many ways to approach math, and I personally had this experience where a teacher made math so much fun that some of that fear that I had was taken away. So I think teachers make a huge difference. Um, and train the trainer is something I feel really lacking. Um, and again, this goes back to my big point earlier. We have all these conferences. We come, we invite people to talk, and then they disappear. I really think we need working meetings. We need to carve out time to work and really address real issues, not just to talk about them. Identify real issues, solve them, and move forward just like what we are doing with the Bioinformatics Education Grand Challenges Consortium. We are meeting regularly and we are moving the needle forward. We need to do the same with some of the other major issues that's plaguing the bioinformatics community. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Asif. Yeah. So over to you, Kiran, please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.